let's get your thoughts, your theories, and break it down why this is not worth it.
Well, so look, I'm going to say it's worth it for somebody who wants it, right? And the person who wants
fair.
it is an enthusiast. And there are people like that. And look, we're all enthusiasts. I have a 4090. Do I need a 4090? No, a 4080, a 4080 Super, way more than enough. Way more than enough, right? But I can spend the money. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll get the 4090. Fair enough, right? So for that person who's like, I'm a PlayStation fanboy, I want to buy everything PlayStation. Why not? Right? Go for it. Now, the reason it's $700 is because Sony is done subsidizing the console. Hiroki came in and said, why? Tell me why. Xbox just said they're not even competing. So why am I going to sit here and take a loss? Tell me why. It's just that simple. It's just simple business, right? They used to do that to kill the competition. Well, they don't think they have competition. Nintendo, they said Nintendo ain't their competition, right? They said that. Right. And so an Xbox is saying white flag. Okay, fine. So why do they care? This is why you need competition. Right. So they're like, well, if nobody's competing, we'll make money. We'll sell it at profit. Why not? So I'm not blaming them.
Is it told they're actually making a profit off of it? I don't think so.
They originally started making profit on the PS5, and then I think the costs escalated. Right. We have the massive inflation go on. So I think they started losing money again. Yep. Which is why the freaking cost escalated, right? They actually increased the freaking price. I think the Pro, I think they modeled it to at least break even, if not make money on it. And the $700 without the drive is to make sure that they don't lose. I think that's the reason it's $700. You have to understand, this is an enthusiast box. There really is no good reason for it, right? So the visual upgrades you're getting here are not going to be significant. It's just not. Right. It made sense when you went from 4 to 4 Pro or 1S, 1 to 1X, because now you're going from 1080 to 4K. You could see it. It was very obvious, right? What are you getting here is minor amounts of visual fidelity, potentially at higher frame rate, right? That's kind of what you're getting here, right? But you get the frame rates on your lower end box anyway. And instead of it being like 1800, it's going to be like 1200. Are you really going to tell? Not really. It's not the end of the world. But if you're an enthusiast, why not? Right? It's the same thing as 4080 versus 4090. If you've got the cash to burn, have at it, right? Fine. That's the way it is, right? And so, the average person isn't going out buying a 4090. They're going to get a 4060 or 4070.
But I thought everybody had a high-powered 4090.
It's not the case. No, people aren't going to spend $2,000 on a graphics card unless you really have money to spend, right? So it's just the way it is, right? Now, the average PC build is probably in that $1,200 range. It's not going to have the 4090. So you have the CPU, all the memory, everything, right? So that's where it kind of is. As far as the $700, yeah, it's pricey, but again, I just don't see why they wouldn't do it. If tell me people aren't buying it, it's still not selling out, but they're still selling them. And the people who are going to buy them, they're still going to buy them. So it is what it is. This is not going to be the thing that's going to sell, 50 million consoles. The other one didn't either. So if they sell 5-10 million of them, whatever, right? If they can make $10, $20 each, hey, that's money in the bank. That's all they're looking at. And there's enough enthusiasts that say, hey, it's a minor enough upgrade, but it's an upgrade. I'm going to buy it. Why not? So I can see it from Sony's perspective. And if you're a fan, hey, it's your choice. Yeah. The majority of players are still going to buy the low-end box. That was the case last gen. It's the case this gen. Majority of people don't care. They don't. Power has not won generations. Almost never has the more powerful device won the generation. It doesn't happen. It's usually the one that has the games. That's what wins. Yeah. Right? Why is Nintendo winning? Because, 10 freaking games every freaking year.
Yep.
So what they do, they just keep giving you games. Their own games, right? On top of that, if you look at like PlayStation last gen, they did a bunch. They had a lot of high power, like high zeitgeist games. That's not happening as much this time.
Ain't got no
now you're kind of seeing it shift to Xbox, where Xbox's showcases are the ones that are banging.
What?
Right? And it is what it is, right? And we're still waiting for that really good, B or higher, PlayStation Showcase. I haven't seen one for years.
That thing ain't
So it's just the way it is, right? And I don't know what their roadmap is. Nintendo just out of nowhere, hey, there's a Mario and a Zelda coming out this year. What? Who expected that? It just out of nowhere. Oh, okay, we'll just dump that. They still have like 8 to 10 freaking first party games coming out this year. And it's an off year where they have a console launch coming up and they're holding their games. That's Nintendo, right? So they just keep selling because they just have stuff all the time. It's games that make the console, right? And it's the least powerful by a mile. It's the least
by leaps and bounds, not even by a mile.
Doesn't matter.
I'd say a country mile.
It got games. That's it. Yeah. It's got games. That's what people want. So if PlayStation is putting out a Pro with no games, this was the folly of the Xbox One generation. Where the games at? That was the problem, right?
They waiting for Xbox games.
Right, exactly. Right now, the roles are reversed.
The port begging is at its highest, bro.
Oh my goodness!
And he did. He went and bought all the studios, bought the publishers. Now they've got games. And the other side is sitting there. Oh, we're gonna buy Bungie. We're gonna go buy Concord. What was the studio?
Firewalk.
Firewalk. We're gonna buy Haven. We're gonna buy Savage, which became Neon Koi, which they just shut down. On and on. And
they shut down half of those studios. Dying. Bungie is gone. Everything is gone.
They're all dying. And then they told their studios go make multiplayer games, and then they cancel all of them.
So they whack.
So that's their roadmap. Look, it is what it is, right? So that's sad that they don't have anything. And like King, you've been saying, Astro probably should have been the launch title. Should have been the launch title. And instead they decided, hey, we're going to just sell the game. Okay.
Somebody told me. I told them my plan. And somebody told me that's stupid. They can make money. I said, well, they did your plan. And it didn't work.
Yep.
So maybe in revisionist history, I mean, because when you're dealing with low IQ individuals, they say low IQ things, and low IQ things just sounds like diarrhea, right? It's just like, I'm just opening my mouth just to talk right here. Let me wipe my lips, right? That's what it feels like to me. All right. Me personally, I think, first and foremost, the Pro is made for me. I'm an enthusiast, right? I have everything that they didn't want to get. I had the PlayStation Go, still got it upstairs, beautiful. I got 4 Vitas, they're upstairs. I got PSPs. I got them in 3 different colors. I'm one of those individuals that I see it, I like tech, I'm going to get it, I use it. I got a ROG and a Steam Deck. Why? Because I like tech. I'm going to get it, right? I also like to know where we're heading as enthusiasts, right? When you're on the cutting edge of technology and you see it coming down the pipe, you can pretty much gauge exactly how far we're going to go down the pipeline. I went with the AMD video card opposed to NVIDIA's video card for the simple fact my whole CPU is Zen. I wanted to keep in line with that. Also, I know about the shaders and the stuff that was coming down the pipeline. I could easily went with NVIDIA with what I wanted, and I would have been safe, but I saw the promise of Zen. I saw the promise of AMD, and I brought into the promise. Not saying that I was wrong or right. I have great fidelity on my stuff. Now, I brought into the promise of the PlayStation 5 Pro. But my promise, their promise to me was different than what some of the individuals was listening to. They heard most powerful console, better than a PC, yada, yada, yada. You don't need to spend $2,000-$3,000. You can get this device. You don't have to tweak and twerk, and it's going to do everything that you want it to do. That, my friend, was a farce, a lie, and nonsensical. But that's what low IQ people heard when they heard Sony speaking. What I heard was, we're going to output at low resolutions. The pisser in the box is going to take that resolution. We're going to checkerboard that resolution, and then we're going to put it through the pisser, which will double the resolution and keep the frame rate because it perceives that resolution at the native resolution of 840p. What? And I won't see anything different? Yes. So I can theoretically get AK stuff? Yeah. But no. Yeah, until we get ready to launch and then we're going to yank AK off the box. Ha ha. That was immediately
Which
the red
they
flag.
did, by the way.
Right? That's immediate red flag. They told you AK, yanked it off the box. They even went back and yanked the AK off the PlayStation 5 box. The reason why is because the throughput in which that they're actually achieving this is a farce and a lie. I lived through this between TurboGrafx.
Talk about it.
Oh, TurboGrafx, I loved you so well. In the 16-bit era, I picked up my Super NES, I picked up my Genesis, and I was in the house having such a great time. But I'm one of those wacky enthusiasts.
So we got the PC Engine.
Yes. So I ran out, got the PC Engine, and they said, well, when it came to America, 16-bit TurboGrafx, 16-bit power. If you go back and watch every commercial, they had you drooling. Well, when we opened it up, we found out the absolute truth. This was not the case. The case was they had two 8-bits and they tried to slap them together and tried to come out with 16-bit. Well, that didn't work. That was an absolute lie. But marketing geniuses went with it. So they kind of got lumped into it in the 16-bit era where they really wasn't, but they got exposed because they weren't able to do what the others were able to do. This again happened with the Jaguar console. They tried to act like they were 32-bit. What happened? King, the enthusiast, runs out and gets the Jaguar. Now, two things that the PlayStation 5 Pro has in common with the Jaguar. The packaging. Cheap.
Garbage.
Oh,
garbage.
God, I knew I was in for a ride. Pause. When I opened the box and it looked like my console came in an egg carton, I took a deep breath. I swallowed, pause. I looked and I said, they got me. And I knew they got me because you can tell immediately when you've been had. As consumers, you know when you sit down in a restaurant and they give you plastic knives and a plastic fork, you're not in a top tier restaurant. This is not Mr. Chow's. So, okay, I saw the box. I'm like, when I got my PlayStation 5, the box, not really good. I want the whole experience. I open up my Series X. Guess what the experience is? Top tier. Premium. Mr. Chow's. All right. So now you have this console. Again, I'm an enthusiast. It fits for me. I have the televisions that can take advantage of it. You need to add all the things around it in order to extract from it what you're going to get. I'm going to get the 3 to 5 frames extra that they're going to give me. And that's all. Now, is the extra, listen, guys, I paid the full boat. I'm giving my son my big Bertha PlayStation 5, right? I purchased this to have for myself. So I didn't trade anything in. I didn't get anything off. I went in the whole way. Get the console. The console comes tomorrow. I'm going to do a live unboxing. But I have realistic goals for it. My realistic goals is those 3 to 5 frames that I thought was worth it for me. All right, playing it. Not saying that I had a real problem with the PlayStation. I don't play it as much. I play my Xbox the most, but I noticed the difference when I go from my Xbox to my PlayStation. The frames are more stable on my Xbox. All right, so what I want is the same experience that I'm having on my Xbox with my PlayStation. So that's why it's made for me. Do I feel that they lied a lot? Yeah. Is that marketing tactics? Yeah. Do I feel like it was Blastmaster processing? Hell yeah. When I saw 33 teraflops, did I say these dudes is lying? Flag on the play. That's exactly what I saw. I knew exactly what it was when they did it. And then it came out and people understand it for what it is. It's cool. But remember, and I want people to remember this. When y'all saw that the PlayStation 5 base was, it's really 9 teraflops. They overclocked the CPU. It's 10 teraflops and some change. and the Xbox came out and they were 12.7 teraflops. And I said, those 2 teraflops really don't mean anything. Well, now that we find out it's 16 teraflops, and this is rounded up 13 teraflops, those 3 teraflops don't mean anything. I want you to keep the same energy here. I don't want you to get out the box acting all crazy. We got the most powerful console. Technically, you don't. Your CPU is the same bottleneck that you had the first time, and you put this next thing in the box. And what you did, you took the GPU and you lowered the clock rate from the base. How the base PlayStation 5 has a higher clock rate on the GPU. And if you think I'm lying, go check the video, go check it out. It's the truth. This is the reason why you have the stuttering, you have the frame rate issues on certain things. But again, games that need that CPU can't utilize this. It's for nothing. And if you want 8K visuals and don't have an 8K television, you're not going to get blood from a stone. It's just not going to happen, people. I want realistic expectations for it. The 7 was perfect. I know some people is going to score it a little bit lower because they don't have the things to take advantage of it. But I'm harsh on the PlayStation because of the fan base. But I heard exactly what Sony was saying, what it was. It gives you lower resolution. It's going to give you a perceived higher resolution at a stable frame rate. And that's what I purchased.
But, Don, let's get your thoughts. Because, again, the reviews are out. I want to get, a Hard Geek knocked it out of the park. King, another grand slam. But I want to get your hot take on it, man. Break it down.
Your Honor, the question of the day is the PS5 Pro a scam? For it to be a scam, and I don't mean the enthusiasts like yourself, like King. I'm talking about the people who were tricked possibly into buying this, the TCL folks. Is this a scam? For it to be a scam, that would mean that Sony gave us information about the Pro that wasn't in fact true. We just found out that the PS5 Pro is 16.7 teraflops. FP16, by the way, I don't want to go too technical. There's definitely better people on the panel for that, but they're using FP16 and not FP32, which would basically double the amount of T-flops on paper. But when you think of T-flops, usually PS5 is 10.3, that is FP16, Xbox is 12 teraflops, FP16. But if you were to use FP32 for the PS5 Pro specs, you would get 33.4 teraflops. Now, that is the number that we were given before the announcement of the PS5 Pro. And this was a rumor, emphasis on that, because we did not get these specs until now. So we never actually got confirmation from Sony themselves. But wait, RDNA 3, like Hargi said earlier, has a feature called dual issue, which in the most oversimplified way of saying it, it would make the 16.7 teraflops perform like 33.4 teraflops on paper. And seeing as the PS5 is using the Pro, is using the full RDNA 3 suite of features, that means that the PS5 Pro is actually performing at that 33.4 teraflops. So it is, in fact, the true king. At least that's what the PlayStation Protector Posse have tried to spread with their PS5 propaganda. And as quickly as that argument was spread across Twitter, it was debunked by Digital Foundry, who I think we can all agree are a very trusted source on the subject, because that dual issue will not translate to the games. They reacted to the spec sheet leak and confirmed that this so-called RDNA 3 capable console does not use that dual issue in games. The 16.7 teraflops is the true performance spec of the PS5 Pro. This is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No evidence is out there to refute this. So let's talk about price. A lot of people thought that Sony was selling the PS5 Pro with 33.4 teraflops for $700 USD, $800 if you buy the disk drive as well, which is a lot for most people. But you could make the argument that you're getting 3 times the power for a 33% increase in cost. Basically, I'm not a physicist, so I don't even know if that math checks out, but I digress. And some could definitely see that as a fair price to pay for that type of jump in power. But now with the actually confirmed specs, we're looking at a 60-ish% increase for that cost. And it's not looking as enticing as it once was. Then you throw in the real world comparisons between the PS5 and the Pro, and we're getting mixed results. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth performs as you would have expected the PS5 to perform, crisp, beautiful visuals at 60 FPS. But then we have Baldur's Gate 3 only seeing a 10% increase in frame rate while in the town, still hitting 40s.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 16 still not stable, and it's basically hitting a 10% bump as well. Alan Wake added some much better ray tracing, but the frame rate is still not stable.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing I want to bring up is that am I the only one getting deja vu? Because if we're looking to see if the Pro will be a success, we've already been here with the same generation. Hear me out. We got the hardware leaks, looked really solid, pushing higher than anyone expected. We got the announcement, and the price was way above what people expected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little too niche to justify launching at that price. 3, pre-orders went up, and it's selling out. Boom. Oh, everybody's talking about that it's selling out, except it was only the anniversary edition was selling out. It wasn't actually the actual PS5 Pro. And the PlayStation Protection Posse, they were out there saying, oh, we told you so. You know, we always are always willing to pay a premium for quality. And then the hardware launches. It turns out the PPP, the PlayStation Protection Posse, we're talking out their astrobots because they didn't actually support it like they said, and the hardware flopped. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the PSVR 2. And funnily enough, unlike the PS5 Pro, the PSVR 2 actually delivered on its specs and performance and was a great piece of hardware, but it still flopped. So, is that type of performance increase worth an extra $300? In my opinion, as someone who turns on the PS5 even less than Boom, hell no. But there are some that could definitely make that argument. It is subjective, and there are definitely people who do think it is worth it. So who am I to tell them what's what?